They're saying it's unhealthy to have a retraction for GDP, right? Gross domestic product. This is what they're saying out there as far as how the economists look at the markets. I'm saying, well, maybe it's not so bad because you can't keep going up. And secondly, this is coming after a pandemic where people were pent up with money. They didn't travel, they didn't do things. They're living things like they're living life now. Same with like what's going on where you look at the investors. You know, we have a war technically going on with Ukraine. We also had the Fed's fund rate raise another 75 basis points, which is the first time this happened back to back since the 80s when Magic Johnson was running with the Lakers, right? Where they did 75 and all of a sudden they did 75 again at the next meeting. So why is that important? It's because investors still, the following days, invested significantly into riskier assets into the stock market. So people are like, you know what? I'm numb to it a little bit, right? And markets seem like they come back. That whole transition of, hey, once that happens, we're gonna come away from putting our money in the bond market. Investors don't care. Buyers out there that see this on a day, like I said, the eyeball test, they're still spending. You guys see it in the markets? What do you see?
I think the Fed's main goal is to keep unemployment low and keep the inflation rate at 2%, right?
100%.
And so our inflation rate is still really high. I think you got a lot of people out there. I think you got a lot of turtles out there, man.
Explain turtles. Like, is it Ninja Turtles?
I think you got a lot of people that have a shell that are protecting themselves, and I think they're not moving ahead as fast as I don't think they're moving forward as fast as they want to go. I think you got a red light, green light type of thing, yellow light.
Well, I
think you got the economy in yellow light right now, waiting to see what happens with the economy. I mean, because you're right. People are spending money, and that's probably why the Fed said, oh, it's not really an inflation. I mean, it's not really a recession, but it is technically a recession. But they don't seem like they're really doing anything to fix it. You know what I mean?
I think everyone has forgotten what normal is.
I think so. And that's the thing of the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
that's
so
the pandemic
when
thing.
the Fed says it's a bad thing for it to have a retraction like that, well, like you said, things can't continuously go up. So, I mean, to have things come back down to earth and normalize, this is what our normal market should be like. So it's not that,
what's the aftermath? That's the question. The question is,
we're going to see.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be, I don't think the aftermath's going to be nearly as draconian as everyone thinks it's going to be.
Right.
I think that we're going back to a normal market. And I think that when they raise the interest rates like they did, it just shocked people and scared people, and humans just automatically react to anything like that that's kind of abnormal or huge. It's the same thing like any kind of policy that they want to enact, they have to do in implementations, slow stages, because if you just go right at people, we can't handle it. So now people are just kind of stepping back, they're observing, they're saying, okay, well, we're not seeing things quite crashing, but I'm still not sure of if it's going to go down a little bit. How much so? But I think a lot of the kind of dramatic world coming to an end attitude is starting to soften a little bit. And, it just needed to happen for us to kind of come back to a more normal market, what we're having right now.
Well, I think a lot of people that I see that's on YouTube and all these things where you see the dramatic, right? I'm just saying,
it gets subscribers that have a doomsday
world.
world.
To click. It's clickbait,
it does.
Right? So I understand that. Now, if you're looking at the average person that doesn't go there for their media, they go to the news. And I'm not saying even the mainstream media news. I'm just saying maybe they go on their phone and they see a clip, right, from some social media outlet, right, Facebook or Instagram. That's a lot of people start to, kind of, oh, this is what's going on. When people go on there, they just do like local news or whatever it is on YouTube. They're not going to go and do all this research. So for this happening, I think this is having a huge impact on psychologically what people are doing when buying a house. Yet I know you have people that are out looking for a house right now, and they're saying, every time that I've bought, even if this market's declining, even if we've had a situation, and this is not a biased thing, some people think this way. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Talk about your client.
Yeah, so one of my main investors, she's bought for me since 2010, 2011. And, she's sold her house and some of her homes in 2014, 2015, way before it was like a huge seller's market.
Does she keep them?
Yeah, she keeps them. She rents them out.
Okay.
And she holds on to them for anywhere between a minimum of 4 years to, I think she's held on to them in 10, 11 years. She has a couple still right now.
Wow.
But point being is, like, she just sold a couple properties in Hawaii. So now she wants to take that money over here.
I've got people that are doing 1031s too.
And I was having the talk with her the other day. I'm like, hey, you need someplace to park your money, kind of what I was just saying earlier. And she kind of stopped me in the middle and she's like, listen, you don't need to have this conversation with me, Brett. I get it. She's like, every time that I've bought homes, even if sold when it wasn't a seller's market, I've made money.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
And so that's what she does. And she has no problem moving forward, even with the interest rates being higher, because it's a little different with her because she can either do cash or a hell of a down payment. But regardless, she has no problem moving forward in this market. Even if home prices go down some, it doesn't matter to her because she's still going to be able to rent it out and she's going to hold on to it for a minimum 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, property's king.
And she makes every single time that she's done that in the past 15 years, because she started doing it obviously before she met me, she's made money. Really good money.
Yeah, and so here's where I'm at is everything out there right now is saying, go to your seller, tell them to sell now, because if you don't sell now, you're going to miss it all, right? You better sell your house immediately, fast, quick, get into this as far as the selling part of it, listing somebody's home. And if you've waited, don't think you're going to get, what you can expect, let's say even back to January.
You're not going to get multiple offers over list price.
When you're out there and you're talking to these sellers, are you telling them, hey, you need to get this thing sold quickly? Because I think, including I am, I'm like, look, let's market this thing well. We're going to put you out on, you have to work, and I've been saying this now for previous shows.